Hi family, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're well. I hope you are doing great. As you can see, today we look like we're kind of going to work. I tried my best to look as professional as I can, given that today's a Sunday. Okay, but yeah, this is a very important video, and it has to do with something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is academia, and basically motivating someone, even if it's just one person, with my journey, what I went through and everything in between. So please, if you are an aspiring CA, you are going to write your APC, or you failed your APC, or you failed your professional program, please do watch this video. Maybe it could help you, or please rather also share this video. It could assist someone. Okay, so I will just like rewind my journey and talk about finally passing APC, my experience, and everything in between. Okay, so 2019 was the year I qualified to write my APC. So for qualifying for your second board exam, you need to have at least 20 months of training, and I forgot how many hours, but yeah, at least 20 months of training by the time you write the exam. Back then, before COVID, it was written in November, but last year it was written in December. Okay, so I'm a girl. 2019, a lot was happening, you know, she was flourishing and all of that. And at the time when I attempted my APC, there were only two professional programs. It was the UCT and the APT. So I went with the APT, given that I had a bit of exposure with the APT lecturers, given that they would sometimes give us like lectures, you know, for ITC and stuff. So I went with APT. To say I was flourishing in that program would be an understatement. Like, I was just doing the most. Okay, I was passing. I was that girl. I was the girl. I was so confident with Sibona. I think we wrote on the 18th of November, if I'm not mistaken. Come the 18th of November 2019, girl, by the time I leave Gallagher, I am a CASA. Okay, so fine, everything goes according to plan in terms of passing the professional program. So those who are not aware, before you write your final board exam, you need to have a certificate from a certified professional program. So currently there are 3 professional programs. It's UCT, APT, and Endunamo. Okay, so I will talk a bit about Endunamo and APT, because Endunamo, yes, I didn't do my professional program with them, but I do have experience. If you watch my previous video, I did say that I do review scripts and so forth, so I do have a bit of exposure when it comes to Endunamo. So fine, November comes, you know, I was ready, I was on leave, I was preparing, I was the girl, and I attempted APC, my first attempt at APC. And by saying my first attempt, it should basically tell you that my girl didn't make it the first time around. Okay, so we wrote our exam. I was confident. It was not like, honestly, it was a fair exam. I believe it was a fair exam, and honest to God, I thought I had passed. Like, I didn't even phantom, or rather entertain, the thought of not making it in terms of that exam, because it was fair. And yeah, life happens, hey. So fast forward to, so normally you'll write your exam the year before and get your results like, yeah, the following year, if it makes sense. So if you write 2021 December or November, you'll get your results 2022 sometime in 2022, because you never really know with COVID. But then before COVID, you would write in November and get your results in Feb the following year. So fine, we were waiting, we were Decembering, everything was cute and nice. Come February the 14th, on Valentine's Day, that day, shame, it was kind of sketchy. So it was not sketchy, but a lot was happening. So I had to go to the office because I had a meeting. When I was at the office, I got a phone call from my mom saying they're rushing my dad to hospital. So I'm from Guyana, and people from Guyana know there isn't like a proper private hospital. So normally if you're rushing someone to hospital, it's either you're taking them to Polokwane or you're taking them to Tanin. So normally with my dad's doctors at the time, they were in Polokwane, most of them. He does have a doctor in Guyana, right? And may his soul rest in peace. It was Dr. Magagani. So, but then they were rushing him to Polokwane. So now, like the nerves of waiting for the results even escaped me, because now I'm thinking of my dad, like, is it gonna be fine and all of that. So we have our meeting, and I asked to leave early. After the meeting, I asked to leave, go home, and to make sure, because I feel like the nerves plus my dad, and it was just a lot. And I felt like the training office, right? You know, you have the training officer, the TO. She gave me a funny look. I was like, "My girl, the look you're giving me is a look of disappointment. Did I fail?" Because, you know, normally your training office would receive your results before you get the SMS at 4. So I was like, I ignore it. I go home. Hey, I was sure I passed. I even had a playlist. I had a playlist to Gucci Bona. I'm gonna be playing these songs. Shapu. We're playing the songs. My hubby and I, we're celebrating, you know, Gucci, God has done it. You know, we have faith. He did it. Yo. We're celebrating. And then come 4. How? No SMS. I go into WhatsApp. Hey, guys. And one thing about me, I love celebrating other people. I love seeing other people succeed. And I believe waiting my chance, you know. So I go on WhatsApp. People are there, you know, like on the status there is, allow me to reintroduce myself. Nhlalala Mabunda CA. Let's say I was the one posting, but then, you know. So I was reading, you know, people passed, people got their results. Where are my results? Yeah. And then I feel like SAICA, it just gives you a moment to be like, hey, and now you're nervous, Gucci, you're not getting the SMS, Gucci, what's happening? So come my 7:04, almost 10:04. SAICA regrets. Yeah. I don't even know if they start with my name or what, but SAICA regrets to inform you failed the SAICA APC, the 2019 SAICA APC. Hey, I'm shocked, because like when when I got the SMS, we were playing like a Tsonga, you know, a Tsonga upbeat praise song. So hubby didn't even hear my phone when the message came in. And then I was like, I failed. So the music kept playing, you know, and I was like, I think I said it like maybe 3 times. I failed. I failed. And then he switched off the music and he's like, are you okay? So he gives me a hug. And me, I'm not that mollycoddle type of person would say I want hugs in when I'm going through something. I want to process what it is that is happening. And then when I will need a hug, I'll inform you. So I don't cry. I just realized I failed. So I go on to, like, we had with a professional programs, you are encouraged to be part of a group. So I went on WhatsApp to see if my group members are saying anything or whatever. And I saw from the status stories with you, they all made it. Like from my group, they all made it. I was the only one who didn't make it. But I was really happy for them because, excuse me. I was really happy for them because I think I had two groups basically. From my other group, the group members were repeat students, or candidates rather. They were repeat candidates, and I felt like they deserved it. They worked hard and they deserved it. It was just not my time, So I celebrated them and so forth. And then now I informed my family. And remember, my dad is in hospital. I'm even nervous if he finds out, how is he going to deal with everything, because he's in hospital. I told my mom, I told my younger sister. So my younger sister is also in Pretoria. She's studying here in Pretoria. So I just told the relevant people. And then after that, I told Habi, I'm like, I want to go to the mall. So we go to the mall, and then I think I bought myself shoes, and I bought the 5 a.m. Club, the book. I bought the 5 a.m. Club, and then we came back from the mall, and then the tears came. I cried, and I told him, I'm like, I'm hurt that I can only attempt this exam again at the end of the year, and we're in Feb. So my thought process was, I have to wait until November to attempt this thing. And Bona, I don't have time. I want to do it as soon as possible, Okay, fine. I cry, we hug and all of that, and my mom is worried with how am I doing, and I just reassured everyone I'm okay. The only thing that was upsetting me, it was not the fact that I failed, actually. It was the fact that I have to wait so long to attempt APC again, So we received our results on Friday. On Saturday, my younger sister came over. I didn't even know she was coming. I'm not sure if Habi knew, but all I know is that she was at the gate. We had to open the gate, and she came. She had chocolates. She had all the comfort food. My mom bought us pizza, and it was just a nice, comforting type of weekend. I was around my husband and my younger sister, and I was dealing, because Monday I had to go to work. Okay, I'm not one to shy away from a situation. I faced it head on. I was not going to take leave because I failed. Failure is a part of life, okay? Failure, we keep it moving. However, I just want to put a disclaimer to what I just said. We are different, right? It doesn't mean that if someone decides to take an entire week off to process, or a day off to process and not be around colleagues because they'll be asking a lot of questions, they are weak. No, it doesn't. Our personalities are different. I like being preoccupied, because if I had stayed at home, given that Habi was working in a different province, I would have been overthinking and trying to figure out what I did wrong. I didn't even have the script to begin with. So I feel like I felt as though if I'm at work, I'll be distracted with work, and there's no harm in people asking me how it went. I failed. That's just that. But I do understand and respect the fact that we are different and we deal with situations differently. So I went to work on Monday. Informed my colleagues didn't go well, and they were sympathetic and but life had to move on. Okay, life continued in terms of a work day and all of that. So the other thing I did, actually, the night I found out I failed, I actually, in the middle of the night, I woke up and I'm like, did I really fail? I looked at that SMS again. I'm like, let me just go to the SAICA website and see. Maybe there's a mistake at the SMS, but the website I passed. Yes, if you've ever checked your results online on the SAICA website, it's not even subtle, it's loud. Like that screen just pops out like Nhlalala Mabunda failed, right? And I cried because I couldn't believe I failed. I honestly couldn't believe I failed. I felt as though it was a fair exam and I didn't know what I could have possibly done wrong. And yeah, so I immediately went onto the SAICA website. Okay, well, yes, I was already on the website, but then what I wanted to find out was the exam dates and so forth. So what I did was go onto the website, look at the proposed exam dates, okay, of which I think it was the 20th of November. So when I looked at that, I was like, okay, I need to come up with a strategy. I need to come up with a plan. Because, okay, with professional exams, you get a certificate that is valid for 3 years, meaning it's valid for 3 attempts. I didn't have to join a professional program again. I had a decision to make whether I'm gonna do it alone, join a different professional program, or basically make a decision surrounding what I'm gonna do, my strategy to pass this thing. So my decision was, okay, I'm gonna go with a professional exam. I mean professional what do you call them? Now I have brain fog, but a professional certified professional program. So now I had a decision to make. At the time, Endunamo had not started with their they hadn't launched their program, so it was still just UCT and APT. So obviously with my first attempt, I did it with APT. So now I had a decision to make whether I'm gonna go back to APT or I'm gonna go to UCT. Me, I'm gonna be honest, and it's just me. It's Nhlalala, ne? Money is a factor. Money is a factor. Okay, when it comes to everything, and it doesn't matter whether, yes, can I qualify, or rather, can I afford to go to a different program? Yes, I could afford going to UCT and stuff like that. But I was like, nah. When you go back to APT as a repeat candidate, number one, you pay less, and number two, there's a Tutuka program for repeat candidates, so they pay, I think it was 70%, I don't remember, but I think the entire cost of the repeat program was 6.8 or something. I don't remember the actual amount, but Tutuka covered like 4.5, and I had to cover the other 2 odd thousands, ne? So for me, it made more financial sense to go with that one, and I was familiar with the program, and it was just maybe changing my view and approach in terms of certain things. Okay, so that decision was made that evening, and then my next move was to, as soon as I can, contact my colleagues that have repeated APC to find out how do I purchase the script. And then number two, in terms of them making it eventually, what did they do differently? What worked for them, you know? And the reason why I like knowing what people do, not because I'm gonna try everything, it's like advice. It's like these videos I'm filming. Not everything I say will be applicable to you. Not everything I say will be relevant to you, right? You take everything with a pinch of salt. Okay, so I normally get encouraged by having these type of conversations, and I know I'll have 1 or 2 things to take home, you know, is because I know that our journey, right, is different. You know, there might be certain things that we encounter in our journey that might be similar to another person. But knowing that there is someone who was once in your position but made it to the other side is very encouraging. So that was my strategy. Was by Monday, I'm talking to people, you know, and I have this thing, you know, I feel like I'd rather ask you 5,000 times the very same thing until I understand. I don't care what you label me or whatever. I am that person who's so desperate to make it. If I have a goal and I want to achieve something, I think okay, not do weird things, but I want to go the extra mile. I don't want to just do the bare minimum. I want to feel like I gave it my all. I gave it my best. Because the one thing about passing anything, it does not matter whether it's your professional exams or your undergrad or your honors, there are no guarantees. It's not guaranteed. If during the year things are going well, you'll pass at the end of the year, or if you're struggling during the year, you'll pass at the end of the year, or you know, and like there's just a lot that happens in between. There are no guarantees. That's the reason why you shouldn't let grades or passing or failing define the person that you are. I think that's what I learned when I failed CTA. So for me, when I failed APC, I didn't have any type of emotional I don't know what to call it, but an emotional reaction necessarily to the fact that I failed. It was more so to the fact that I had to wait for a long time, more than 9 months, to actually attempt this thing again. You know, I wish there was a SAP, but yeah, there isn't one. So yeah, it for me, it boiled down to planning. I wanted to have a plan. I wanted to have a strategy, you know. And I think, you know, my personality at times does help me a lot, because I do value everyone around me. I value every piece of advice I get. So I found it very valuable. I went back to some of my group members, asked them for tips, like what they did differently and what they would advise someone like me, you know, and stuff like that. So that was very helpful. And then the other thing is, after I received my script, I think this should be actually a different video of what I did, but after I received my script, I spent, I think it was 3 days going through it, and not even having an emotional attachment to, oh, they could have marked this correctly, or I think with this one they graded me incorrectly. No, it was more of, Nhlalala, you failed, there's no remark, there's nothing you can do about it. So if they said for this question or for this task you're an LC, take that LC as it comes and analyze as to how do you move from that LC to a C, you know. And yeah, so but I think I'll film a separate video talking about the things that I did differently in terms of APC, and number 2, my strategy and my plan after failing. Okay, so I continuing with the story. Well, Friday evening / Saturday morning, I was then coming up with a plan and a strategy, and I even drew up a study plan. I think I was just I had a moment of going through something. Okay, so fast forward to going back to the professional program. Hey, if I say it was a struggle, it's an understatement. Remember 2019 professional program, I was flourishing. I mean, I was even getting HCs. Now, hey, I don't know what was happening, but I was just failing. Basically, I was just failing. And you know, it does something to your confidence if, let's say, when you look at the grading guide and you look at maybe the APC grading guide, and you're like, where I was in terms of the exam in November and where I'm at right now, I'm actually not making any progress. I'm stagnant, or rather I'm basically performing below par. Like, I was here, but now I'm actually performing below that standard anyway, instead of elevating. So the first few assessments I struggled, and then the final assessment, that's the only assessment I actually passed. I'm being like, that's the only assessment I passed. But I was putting in the work. I was, you know, at work, when there's a session with the highest achieving person, or blah blah blah, like, it doesn't matter, whatever session, whether it's a Abasa events or whatnot, I would attend. and not attending because I want to necessarily change the strategies that I have in place, but I always feel like maybe there's something, man, maybe there's something I'll get from this session. I remember even the Tutuka SAICA, because Tutuka's under SAICA, we had a session with people from SAICA. And then there was this person who was saying, give yourself 30 minutes a day, go through articles, whatnot. I would be like, my wall in the home office, like my wall was filled with papers, writing certain things down, like maybe a certain, I'll call it a quote, because someone will say something where I was like, oh, that's so genius. I'll write it down and but I tried by all means to encourage myself. And those who are doing APT, they know Prof Ben. Prof Ben would come with his encouraging words. I would let those words sink in and be like, you know what, I've made it this far. I think I am qualified to be a CA. I think I have what it takes to become a CA. I need to just believe that. I need to have the faith that I can be that CASA at the end, and I like, the more I started confessing that, Nhlalala, you're gonna be that CA, Nhlalala Mabunda CASA, I started confessing that, and I was like, one day, I just don't know when, it might not be this year, it might not be the following year, but before I leave this earth, I know I will be a CASA. And me, last year my prayers were also a bit, so I was like, God, even with this COVID, Mina, I will not even like have COVID. It is not my portion, because the agenda is CASA, okay? And already, God, we had the conversation at the beginning of the year in February to say, our loved ones will not pass away, because we are focused on becoming a CA, and already Papa is gone. So you can't take another person. No one is gonna be sick. No one is gonna pass away. We must, God, it must happen, I had that conversation with God, and my prayer, I don't know if it's a selfish prayer, but I would pray, I was like, God, I will not die. I will not leave this earth before I become a CA. And even if this COVID is trying to end the world, it will not end until Nhlalala is a CA, okay? God, please, let's have a consensus, an agreement, because CASA must happen, And I then fast forward to I think it was, my dad passed away in May. The day my dad passed, the day before my dad passed away, SAICA released a communication to say they've revised the exam dates. Was I not angry? Was I not? I was livid. I was livid because, number one, I had to wait from Feb to November, and now you come in May and tell me I must wait until December to write this thing. How, guys? No, you can't do that to me. So, excuse me. So now I'm angry about that, but also that night I felt a bit uneasy. I went to bed early, and then early hours of the morning, Happy woke me up, told me my dad passed on, and I don't want to talk about that. Okay, so fine. Fast forward to, obviously, when your loved one passes away, you go through a season. I'll just call it a season. You go through actually seasons because they differ. But I feel like the first few months are the hardest. So my school sort of took the backseat a bit to focus on my mental health, my emotional health, where I was at, and like a lot was just happening around that time, and as a family we were going through a lot, and it was just too much. But I thank God around July I started picking up pace, and everything now was back to the original schedule. So I attempted my assessments and so forth, and then yes, like I said, I only got the final assessment, and then the pre-release and everything happened. We researched, we prepared our file, and then on the 17th of December, if I remember correctly, 17th, yeah, it was the 17th, we wrote our APC. And I remember after writing, when I went back to the car, because if you've ever written at Gallagher, you know there's traffic. So I sat in the car. Was it raining? Or was it the other time? No, I don't remember. But now I'm confusing my two attempts. But there was one attempt where after the exam it was raining. So I don't know if it's both attempts, but I don't remember. Yeah, let me just say I don't remember. But I sat in the car while other people were leaving. I sat there, and because I had to eat. That's another thing, because I didn't have time to eat when I was writing. I had to eat, but I made a prayer. I was like, God, may this be the last time I come here to write APC. May the next time I come here is to cheer others on that are writing, or be for a different purpose, but not to attempt this exam again. I made that short prayer, and then I made my way back home, and then fast forward in this year, the results came out on, I think it was the 23rd of April, but it was in April. So come April, hubby and I are home. During the day, I took leave that day. I didn't go to work. I took leave during the day. We're trying to pass time, my friend and I, and then around 3, I decided to go take a shower, and then just try distract myself, relax, set the tone, like the mood, like play gospel music, and like just make sure that I'm in a good space. Regardless of what happens, it's in God's hand. I did what I could. I gave it my best, and the rest was left to God and the markers. Okay, so hubby and I were talking. We were chilling. Shabu, it's 4 p.m. Still no SMS. I'm like, so the same story. It's like, Shabu, 5 past, nothing. And then I call my friend. I'm like, have you received your SMS? My friend's like, no, I still haven't received anything. And then after I hang up the phone call, I think we stayed for about another 5 minutes, and we were just chilling. I was on my phone. I don't remember what I was doing on my phone, but I was not really on WhatsApp or any social media, but I was doing, I think maybe I wanted to change the music that was playing. I don't remember, but I was on my phone. So with your phone, like the message will pop up on top. Let's say you're on a different app, it'll pop up on top, and I just saw congratulations. That's all I saw. I saw congratulations. Whether it was congratulations, you won 50 Rand airtime, I don't know, but I saw congratulations. And I screamed. And I was like, oh my God! I screamed. And then Happy was like, and then this one, did you get the SMS? So he takes my phone, he opens the phone, he realizes I passed. He starts crying. I'm screaming and I'm saying, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Hubby is crying. He cannot believe it. He's emotional. And I'll touch on partners during the SA journey, like shortly. But he was crying and it was emotional. I informed my parents, his mom as well, that I passed and so forth, and obviously friends and all of that. So that's how it all happened. That's my story. So yes, my first attempt I did fail, but my second attempt I passed, and yeah, I am Nhlalala Mabunda CA, and this thing is actually close by, so I just want to show you that I'm a certified accountant. You can check me on the SAICA website. When you search for CAs. So yes, this is my. Okay, let's see if I can you know, there you go. There's my certificate to certify that I am a chartered accountant in South Africa. Okay, so I did make it the second time around. So the one thing I want to touch on when it comes to partners and the significance of my husband being emotional as well, being part of this journey, for anyone, even if you are not necessarily the one going through it, you are a family member. It doesn't have to be a spouse or a partner, but you know how emotionally draining this journey is, and for you to be directly involved in someone's life that is going through this, that is also a win for you. You know, it's also an achievement for you. I even call my husband sometimes an honorary CA, because he was there, you know, through the tears, through the long nights. I mean, sometimes we'd take walks and I would be telling him about accounting standards, like using him to revise. He didn't study accounting. He does not know a debit from a credit, okay? But he allowed that. He encouraged that because he really wanted to see me succeed. And this win is not just mine. It's my family's. It's my husband's. And yeah, this journey has been a lot, but I'm grateful. I wouldn't have it any other way. And my personal journey, because of decisions that I made in between, seems as though I did everything record time. But yes, I did repeat a year of CTA and I did repeat APC. It's just that by the time I signed off, okay, actually I received my results after signing off, but everything just worked out perfectly, you know. It worked out in kind of 7 years, right? It's 7 years and 4 months because we received our results in April. But it has not been an easy journey. I'm so grateful, family, to everyone, you know. And I think using this platform, YouTube, to film my experience, hopefully it will encourage someone. Hopefully we'll have more people sharing their journey. We'll have more people sharing their stories, because someone right now is crying, thinking, maybe they're at their wits' end. They don't feel like they can do it. They feel like, you know what, that exam was the exam for them and they didn't make it. But let me tell you something. Do not write yourself off. Eventually it will happen. There's no timeline to this thing, I believe. And like I said in some of my previous videos, as you saw that certificate, they don't write it took me 3 years, or it took me 7 years, or it took me 15 years. At the end of the day, the very same certificate I received after 7 years and 4 months will be the same certificate someone who took 10 years will receive. So at the end of the day, embrace your journey, embrace where you're at. Don't allow anyone to discredit your abilities. I believe, and I strongly believe, if you qualified in first year to study accounting, you are more than qualified to get to the designation, to be called a CASA one day. So please don't give up on you. Okay? Yeah. This video is quite long, but I just wanted to share my story. The upcoming videos will be basically discussing strategies that I've used, and a bit of take-home advice for my fellow colleagues that will be attempting their APC, or who are anticipating to attempt, and or rather you're starting with this journey of being a CA. It's worth it. The money is good. It's really worth it. It's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. So family, with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video, almost an hour. Thank you so much. May love, peace, and grace be unto you. Remember to choose you.